State Board of Education is now called to order. Dr. Mackey, turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. So first things first, we're just going to ask Mr. Walker and his crew just to come up to the table there. You may have to bring a chair with you or something, and let's just have a conversation. I know there's some. I knew there would be a question about the Huntsville. Dr. Reynolds tells me he's already asked that question. So we really appreciate it. Gentlemen, a couple of board members mentioned to me coming off the stage, they want to come see it. I know that it's open. Open to visitors. I've come in and
I've been
toured
a couple of times, brought superintendents and career tech directors and legislators, and it is so impressive what you do. I thank you so very much, and the partnership that the schools provide, the transportation and the counselor. There's a full-time counselor there, so if attendance issues or discipline issues, anything like that, the counselor, because you got, people that are industry people that don't necessarily know how to implement that into a system for a school. And so it's a beautiful partnership. And you even have, or you used to have, like Employee of the Month.
Yes.
So, and you had their pictures up, and that was fantastic too. It was very positive reinforcement. And I talked to some of the kids that were there and said, what would you be doing if you were not here? And many of them said, I would not be in school. So I just see it as a great opportunity for many of our students, and I applaud what you do. So I'd like to see you expand all over the state.
Well, I keep telling them that too. And one of the, when I was there, I know one of the things y'all were doing, I guess you still do it, and I want to put you on the spot, but you worked on clothes for kids. So like some kids needed steel-toe boots, and they have steel-toe boots. You don't want a child to, you can't come because you can't afford steel-toe boots. Y'all had, I don't know how you did it, but you made sure everybody had what they needed.
Well, I can clear that. We have some partnerships with suppliers and personally know some people that was willing to step up, and that's on a case-by-case basis. I don't advertise that with the students, but if a student comes up and has trouble getting that, we have partners that'll step up and do that. Red Wing Boots is one of them. So.
Absolutely. Well, I just think that's great because every child doesn't need that.
That's right.
But you're not gonna let that be a barrier. And that's one of the things that we hear, in school and even out of school. This week, Dr. Cole mentioned we were at the Governor's Work-Based Learning Summit, and that came up multiple times that these were people who graduated from school, but they were getting them back in the workforce. And it's these other barriers that kept people, not that they didn't want to work, but the other barriers. And so how do you identify those and make sure that you knock those barriers down? And I appreciate that y'all do that.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Mackey, I want to thank you especially for our program and the vision going forward. We've sat down with the governor's office and shared with the State Department, Dr. Mackey and his team, where we want to take this. We wanted to wait and make sure we had it figured out. We don't always have it figured out, but we're doing our best to make it happen. I will say for our program that it takes about 100 active companies behind this, right? A lot of programs that we looked at across the state typically have one or two, but we have 100 contractors, to your point, whenever anything is ever needed for funding, the things that always crop up, we have a robust group of contractors. So thanks to this board, again, we could not do it without you. You're one of many partners, and we are just here today to say thanks for that.
I would like to say before, I know Dr. that we certainly welcome you to the Huntsville community, not Huntsville City, but the entire community, because we have experienced rapid technological and growth, and it's much needed. This program is very desirable, and I'm sure you'll get more than adequate corporate cooperation and cooperation from our school systems in that area. And I look forward to working with you and greeting you as you expand into the Huntsville area. And I thank you for your willingness to do that.
My last closing, this is pro work. We're not anti-education. We want our students to go on further, but we tell our students, go to work and let the company tell you what you need for further education or training, and make them pay for it. Our folks are willing to do that. So we're pro work, and to what Mark and his team do, the fall break, winter break, spring breaks, I cannot stress enough. By us giving someone a job for a week and getting a meaningful job and put money in their pocket, the light bulb goes off immediately. So then they're tied in and they're invested in our program. So,
I'll tell you one, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, one of the things, and I always love hearing from the students, where they said they came in with zero skills, but yet they knew that when they walked out, they would have them. So that gave them sort of a structure and a platform upon which to build. And our kids need security and stability. And I applaud that they felt comfortable enough coming in with what they said, their words, not mine, zero skills in that arena. Now, may I ask you, I know you have different arenas, do they test different arenas to determine what is their best fit, or do they sort of go right into something, may I ask?
they fill out an application and of our 5 trades, they circle their number 1, 2, and 3 picks.
Okay,
And
I
look,
got
it's so competitive. You don't always get your number 1. You might take your number 2 or even your number 3 to get into this. We've got such a history now where the students know, once I get into the school, it's where I need to be.
And we also use a lot of our resources, and Russ does this when he goes out and recruits, and I'm a part of the recruiting process, but we tell the kids when we talk to them before they even fill out the application, you know, are you technically minded, you like reading wiring schematics, you know, you might fit better in HVAC or electrical, you like just putting things together, building things, you might fit better in carpentry. And then we also refer them to great resources that Alabama provides, and that's Go Build Initiative. They can go to the Go Build website, they can watch videos on different trades. They can look at pay charts about, you know, how much those pay and where the different career paths are at. So we have some great resources right here in Alabama that our kids are able to refer to, and we refer them to all of that
Gotcha.
to make a good decision about what craft they want to go into.
Okay.
So that's kind of the process. We don't test, but we do refer them to where they can make a good sound decision.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to thank you for what you're doing in the Jefferson County Metropolitan Birmingham area, because I did see 11 of my school districts that are represented. But I have a question. I know it's an academy. So do they begin as a freshman, or is it so long of a process? How long do they actually stay there for the duration in order to get, say, HVAC?
Up to 2 years.
Okay,
So you are eligible to enter our program as a junior.
okay.
Now, we prioritize seniors when we're looking at student applications because we can put those students to work obviously faster. But for juniors in our program, they have opportunities for internships, and he's mentioned during the breaks of the school year, but then that summer, that's an 8 or 9 week internship, and that's a powerful experience for juniors.
And they're paid internships.
Yes, let me they're paid.
Yes,
So-
that helps.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. Do you all have an expansion plan?
Yes.
We're
Well,
working
so-
on that now.
So if you look at, you know, state Alabama, obviously, the Birmingham, Jefferson metro area, where you have a lot of opportunity, but also Huntsville, we're kicking that off this fall, and naturally Mobile. And then we are looking out, how do we reach, look, I come from East Alabama, right? I'm over a little, Randolph County. So rural Alabama is near to me. And how can we get this, maybe not to this scale, but there's things, how do we connect our companies and employers to those good folks in those areas? And that's what we're looking at. I don't have an answer for you today, but yes, ma'am, we would love to expand. We gotta get Mobile out of the way, and we gotta get Huntsville going first.
And how far, you have students that travel 30 minutes, is it longer than that? I know, like, some of them are pretty far up.
I think it's maybe far out as Pell City coming to our program, and we've had Asheville students before. And those students ride a bus, let me say that, so.
And we've had the Asheville students that will meet the Moody kids and ride in on the Moody bus, you know, so.
That's right.
The kids work out logistically because they want to come to us as well.
Yeah, St. Clair County kind of has a network. They'll have one bus that stops at this school, and then they wind up on I-20 and they take a ride and come home. So
Take a right.
that's right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's more about safety, so in case our parents have questions, and the commercial building industry is a very serious business with a lot of safety concerns and OSHA requirements. So how do you handle the liability of having students in those areas of working with heavy machinery and that sort of thing? And how has that progressed as you've progressed?
From the education side, let me speak to that real quick. Obviously, the PPE we mentioned, that's something, that's a non-negotiable on our campus. We also have, obviously, my presence there, Ms. Poindexter, our counselor, her presence there, we have supervision of those students. And so not only with us, but the instructors, and then they're getting that essential construction and safety training that they're gonna need. And they leave our campus not only with NCCER credentials, but OSHA 10 certification. You wanna add anything?
So just to add to that just a little bit, I think maybe leading up to the internships, we cover NCCR basic safety, like Russ said, at the very first of the year, and we get our kids focused on safety, outfitting them with PPE. And when we do that fall break, they just had that safety course, you know. And then we go through the Christmas break, and then going into the spring break, our students just completed the OSHA 10 with their instructors. And so now, that's right before the spring break, so when they go out in the field, they've got that fresh on their mind. We also have industry speakers that come in on a weekly or at least a monthly basis and talk to our kids about the industry and career paths in the industry, and they always start that conversation with a safety moment. So they're actually seeing the things that they're going to be experiencing out in the field and the same processes. So our kids are as safe as they can be, and we teach them to keep their heads on the swivel and pay attention to what's going on, and we tell them about the hazards of the industry every day, day in and day out. Which goes back to our industry. Our instructors come from industry, so they're able to tell them all that.
What's your ratio male to female in your program?
I would say
10% female.
Yeah,
10% female, but you are seeing some females wanting to go into the, I
Absolutely.
think it's an excellent opportunity for young ladies to
Oh,
learn about the
Absolutely it
industry.
is, yes.
One cool thing that you mentioned there about females is Fabark Steel in Oxford, Alabama. They hired one of our Haley Calloway from Pell City, hired her, and she was the first female in 50 years at Fabark to certify as a welder, and she is still there today 3 years later. So she is, so Fabark made a big deal out of that. They were happy to get her. They've hired about 4 of our students. They're all sticking and doing a good job. So we have had some very successful females out in the field.
That's great.
I want to say that I really appreciate what you do, and that technical college is college. I'm a big supporter. That is college.
Yep.
I want to share with you very briefly. I know a young man who was in a program very similar to what you are doing. He had dyslexia. He struggled in school. His dad was in prison. His mom struggled to make a living. He had a wonderful counselor who talked to him and said, "I think you're a good fit for this." An unlikely candidate. He went into industrial maintenance. He worked at a job. They trained him work. He had money coming in. He finishes in August at the technical school. He's already been offered a full-time job, making more money than his mother, who is a teacher, ever dreamed of. So y'all are doing God's work. You are saving lives, and you are stopping that cycle of poverty. I really appreciate it. Thank you for what you do.
I'd like to make one more comment. The term you use, craft, is very important. People's perception of what you do. To reference it as a craft, as a skill level, as a profession, is very important. And people's perception is often guided by the words you use. And I do appreciate your referencing it as a craft, because it certainly is a craft skill. And we're imparting, as she said, at these skill levels for some of the people who get college degrees. At least they're perhaps sometimes more skilled than some of our college degree people. And I acknowledge and appreciate that.
I can speak from my sons that are both in the construction and maintenance industry, that when they graduate high school, I've got a 26-year-old just finishing his bachelor's degree in occupational safety and health with a focus in construction, and he's been working in construction the whole time and going to school at night and online and finishing his bachelor's degree. So I'm not telling these kids to do anything that I'm not pushing my own children to do in their career. And he's found a career. He's in workforce development and training with Breastfeather Board right now. So I tell these kids the same thing. You don't have to go to 4 years of college and go in debt to get an education. So
Thank you very much for what you do.
So I'll just add just a couple of final points. So this is set up like a technical center kind of schedule in terms of, kids come to that school for particular electives and they go back to their base school. What that means is that we mentioned 11 school systems in 31 different schools.
About 15 systems, 31 schools.
15 school systems, 31 schools. That requires an immense amount of cooperation by those principals and those superintendents, because these are students who are operating outside of the normal bail schedule. And so they have to be flexible and allow this kind of project to take on, because if they didn't want to cooperate and play ball, the kids wouldn't be able to come. So they have to be, some of the students are on the bus for 30 minutes, some of the students may be on the bus for 5 minutes. So there's a lot of flexibility has to be applied there. And so the partnerships with those career tech directors, those principals, and those superintendents are a critical piece of what we do. Also, I don't think we talked a whole lot about the facility, but we did mention the partnership with AIDT. AIDT leases the facility and loans it. It's basically, there's a partnership there where we have, the academy has access to the facility. That's a huge piece, because we didn't have the building, there wouldn't be a program. So we're certainly grateful to AIDT for the part that they play in making sure that we have that strong partnership. And I know you guys are finalizing some important dates coming up, signing days or interview days or something like that.
May the 11th.
I think so, May the 11th. So when you guys send me the formal invitation, I will funnel that through Mr. Markham out to you guys and you board members to see if you're available and want to come. That would be a great day where you would see the kids, reaping the reward of the work that they've done, and the contractors on site. You'd have a chance to interact with some of them as well. That could be an awesome opportunity. But even still, even if that's not an option, we can easily arrange days for you to come individually or as a team, however you want to do it, to see the facility. But it's an outstanding program, and it's a true private private-public partnership. And it takes a lot of folks to be willing to participate for the benefit of the students. That's what it's really about. And so it's doing wonderful things, and we're proud to be a part of it here at the department, and proud to help to support the expansion down into Mobile, then into North Alabama, and then like Todd said, want to get out to some of our more rural areas and make some reaches out, maybe in the Black Belt and into East Alabama and West Alabama. Some of the I-65 corridor is important, but the students out in the more rural areas are just as important, and oftentimes have got the exact skills we're looking for. Just got to get it harnessed and get them pointed in the right direction. So I just thank you to the board and Dr. Mackey for the support on this project to keep it running. It's very exciting, and looking forward to see what comes next.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And y'all welcome to stay with us. I think we can, yeah, we can go on upstairs.
Once we get started, it's hard to stop.
That'd be good.
We will recess now until 12:30.
So we'll go up, and we'll go and eat after the program. It'll be about 20 minutes, about like the others have been.
And we'll reconvene.
We do want a picture of y'all under the flag after they finish with the students, so please don't run off too
We
fast.
normally do it on comment right there.
Do you want to go up to the 3rd floor and hold the flag? So you go to the 3rd floor.
What did you say you can go?
Yeah.